Things are getting kind of nasty in the progressive conservative leadership race in your province. Fill us in. What's going on here?
Just a touch. It's gotten a little interesting in the last week. Oh gosh, where to start? Okay, so firstly, this leadership race was pretty dull all throughout the summer, right? Which is kind of expected, right? Because summer's nobody's really around. But anyway, about a week ago, things started to really heat up when the frontrunner and former federal cabinet minister Jim Prentice firstly was called out for giving away free memberships to potential PC party members. And then he tried to change the channel a little bit by saying that he would introduce term limits on MLAs. Which just was really a panned idea, and then things got a little weird because this really bizarre item got leaked to the Edmonton Sun, literally leaked in a brown envelope. It was sent
I remember
to
those days.
I know, I don't.
You're dating yourself, Chris.
But no, literally this envelope was sent to the Edmonton Sun, couriered under a false name that showed that one of the leadership candidates, Thomas Lukaszuk, had run up a cell phone bill of $20,000 while he was on vacation in Poland handling emergency government business. So this all broke. Mr. Lukaszuk apologized. He said it was government business, however, and there were no data plans available essentially, so this is what happened. But then it came out that there was the business that he was handling was that a former cabinet minister was having a very serious issue that we can't really get into because it's protected by a publication ban. But then it started to be raised the question of whether or not Mr. Lukaszuk really needed to be stepping in on any of this.
So how is all this playing then with PC memberships, members, and with the province at large?
I think there's a big sense of what the heck. What is going on? Like where did this leak come from? I mean, there's allegations that it kind of came from within government and potentially even within the PC caucus. So, like, what kind of internal dissent is happening here? And then today, of course, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation revealed that they had finally found all of just Jim Prentice's expenses from when he was a minister with then Indian Affairs. So they said, we've got this 3,000-page document showing that he took a chartered flight between Calgary and Fort Macleod and all this sort of stuff. So I mean, it's just been nonstop fun. Stories every day on this issue.
Yeah.
It's been great to come back to a little bit.
Well, let me bring in the others because nasty leadership races are kind of de rigueur these days. Glenn, we've had them in the federal scene. What is the general impact it has on party morale and the ability to try and put these things behind you?
You got to think boring would have been better for this party coming off the Alison Redford debacle. I'm struck by watching Jim Prentice in this because it wasn't that long ago in this town when there was speculation that he could be a credible successor to the Prime Minister should the Prime Minister resign or before or after a federal election. And it reminded me a bit of that period when Frank McKenna was kind of circling the Liberal Party. There was a guy who was a moderate within his party, well respected in the business community, had some electoral success. McKenna making the good choice to stay and earn millions and millions of dollars on Bay Street, and Prentice now showing that it's a lot easier to be the well-regarded outsider waiting in the wings than it is to be the actual candidate. And I think whatever happens in this vote, this is September 6th, I think is the first balloting. Whatever happens there, I don't think there's any possibility that Jim Prentice will ever be considered a successor at the federal level.
What do you think, Marty?
I hate to harken back to the PQ, but the PQ has a history of fighting with itself since its inception in 1968, and I see elements of that within this, and certainly within the leadership races. The difference is that the Alberta Conservatives have spent huge swaths of its history not fighting with each other, and all of a sudden to have this happen now after Alison Redford, after the upswing of the Wild Rose Party, et cetera, doesn't bode well for the party. The other thing too is if this leak is coming from within the party, that means that there's candidates within the party resorting to scorched earth this earlier on, and then that is just not good for a party because it means that there's candidates in there who are more interested in themselves and the health of their own party, and that in any situation is bad.
All right, 10 seconds. Jen, wrap it up for us.
Oh gosh, and only 10 seconds?
Yep, that's broadcast for you.
Going to be super interesting. Watch on September 6th, see what happens.
Okay.
There we go.
Thanks to the Power Panel. Jen.
Thanks, Chris.
Gerson.